to reactivate the background.
Welcome to my little corner of this great big crazy world, where we can laugh and play until reality comes unfurled.
Hello and welcome to Cory's Corner on this lovely Saturday. Yes, indeed. We are starting a little late today because I had to take my son on a driving lesson. And yeah, I don't do well as a passenger in cars, but I survived. It was a good experience this time. Like, he actually remembered everything from previous lessons, and it was great. It was very nice. There were a couple instances where he got a little lost in the conversation we were having, and I had to be like, dude, like, you're gonna give me a heart attack. You can't do this to me. But anyway, joining us today is Christian Delorme from A Vehicle. Hail, sir. How you doing?
Oh, great. And yourself?
Not too bad today.
So, yes, I'm in a vehicle because Cory was nice enough to let me sit in with him because my little girl, which she hates because I call her that because she's 16 now. She's a young lady, but she and her bestie are out skiing, and dad doesn't ski in the last 20 years, and I don't chance it. So I'm sitting in the parking lot, and I'm like, oh, Cory's on. So this is what I'm doing in my vehicle. And thank you, Cory, for letting me sit in with you. It's a lot better than looking at the windshield.
Heck yeah. Thank you for joining us. It's great to have you, bro. Yeah, so today we explore the fact that Disney has officially been voted as the biggest ripoff in America. This doesn't really come as a surprise to me, or probably anyone else for that matter, but que sera, sera. And we'll get into why they're a ripoff according to these people's opinions. So yes, Disney Parks officially deemed biggest ripoff in America. This is from InsideTheMagic.com. Even though up here it says .net, on their website it says .com. Doesn't really make sense. But anyway, this is, of course, from February 20th of this year. Visiting Walt Disney World has only grown in cost over recent years, and now, according to a survey, the Orlando theme parks are the biggest ripoff that someone can experience. So Disney World opened in 1971 with $3.50 for adults, $2.50 for people under the age of 18, and $1 for children under 12. Now, Magic Kingdoms is $184 per person. No delineation, no special consideration. And of course, in that time frame, nearly the over 50 years since they opened, we're looking at a 5,157.14% increase in costs. And that's not actually why they're a ripoff, okay? Disney's expensive. Let's just be honest. Disney's always been expensive, and they always will be. Hail to Nate D. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. They've always been expensive, but so an annual pass holder highest tier currently costs $1,450 per year. So that's the minute. That's what you would, on their highest tier, that's what you would expect to spend for a whole year for one annual pass holder. The Fast Pass is no more, and the Disney Genie Plus has been added, which is $30 per person to use the Disney Genie on certain days. The service only guarantees that you can skip the line on 2 to 3 attractions, and some of the more popular rides still require an additional fee. This is where, okay, so they're the EA of theme parks, people, okay? They're microtransactioning you in real life in the park to get perks that you're supposedly already supposed to get with certain passes. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that sounds like a pretty big ripoff from the get-go. But that's just from the get-go. So they did a survey of 5,000 participants, headfirst into Google Trends and TripAdvisor to determine top ripoffs. People were talking about basically nationwide. So casino.org also conducted a study stating that people were bamboozled, beguiled, and swindled, sometimes the only way of describing experiences that were certainly less than we bargained for. The allure of as seen on TV and influencers' point of view of travel can leave us disappointed when we realize we don't get our money, time, or both worth. Buyer beware as we're unpacking some of the biggest ripoffs of all time. Which, of course, Disney World ranked number 1 in the US as a ripoff. The publication said, following the TripAdvisor results for the top 10 attractions, we asked participants to rank what they thought was the biggest to least ripoffs according to their experiences. 60% of respondents concluded Disney World is the biggest ripoff for US attractions. The happiest place on earth turns out to be the most scammy place on earth. That's funny. As this top attraction ranks number 1 for ripoffs. Starting at $109 per person for the most basic ticket, we start to see why Disney ripoffs top the ripoff ranks. Ciao, Mickey Mouse. Yeah, it's not exactly an all financially inclusive park. You know what I mean? Hail to Parrothead. He says, hail, babyface sir talks a lot. Nice to see you. And hail to John Edgar. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Again, no one's really surprised that Disney is a ripoff. What are your thoughts so far, Christian?
Well, I'm not surprised because I follow pop culture too, and there's only so many billion-dollar flops you can have. Okay, that's the problem with Disney. And now they're trying to recuperate their money through their only lucrative gig, which is more or less the theme park. And Kathleen Kennedy, from what I've seen, is killing that because what was that Star Wars theme park they were trying to do? And it just flopped. Like I'm talking about, like
yeah, the Star Wars Star Cruiser, whatever the hell it was
that
called. Yeah.
that was one of them. And then also, instead of going with the original, they tried to go with the new trilogy, and it didn't take. Nobody was going through. So it's
Especially for those
expected.
costs, because those
Yes,
costs were exuberant.
exuberant. Yeah, I know. And it's basically role playing. That's all it is. So
The
I'm actually not surprised, and good on them.
Galactic Star
Screw you,
Cruiser.
Disney. You called me a racist, a white supremacist, a sexist, a misogynist because I didn't like the shit that you were trying to spoon feed me. Thank God you bought. You bought Fox? Because otherwise, I wouldn't be subscribed to Disney Plus. I watch the old movies like Die Hard and all that. So screw you, Disney. You got what's coming to you. Consequences.
Yes, and hail to the lovely Sherry. Wonderful to see you
Hey,
here.
Sherry.
I agree with what you just said. I will go out of my way to say buy physical media. If you enjoy these movies, remember to buy them physical because then one day they will be gone. Because it will
Or
offend someone's moral compass that John McClane says, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
yeah.
And then he kills a bunch of people. And that's bad. Oh my gosh. That's so
Well,
bad.
mind you, if they were all white men, it's okay. But because they're Europeans or something, it depends who you kill nowadays. Which is why,
Oh,
screw
come
you,
on.
go woke, go broke.
True facts. True facts. And yeah, so Disney is basically taking one of their only lucrative business and they're turning it to shit by making it so expensive that regular people can't get in anymore. That used to be like the
Exactly.
dream. You know, people were like, "Oh, let's go to Walt Disney World for the summer vacation. We'll have a great time, etc., etc." And now they're all like, "Hey, I can't afford that. Look, Branson. Let's go to Branson, Missouri."
Yes, that's
Because
a
that
nice
place is
place.
supposed to be a very fun, awesome place to go.
And you might get to meet Dolly Parton and have a selfie with her.
That,
Giggity.
yeah, giggity.
So
But yeah,
thank you.
very true, very true. Um, many have accused Disney of pricing their parks for the 1%, pushing out the middle class average family due to the cost of their vacation. Go figure. Hmm.
And
So,
Cory, the
yeah,
1% does not go to Disney World. The 1% goes to Canary Islands. The 1%
right.
goes to Thailand on this exclusive thing that costs $10,000 a week. So
And
don't kid
and
yourself, Disney.
some of those 1%ers also just build their own theme parks on their own properties and stuff like that, where they're like, you know what, I don't want to go anywhere. Let's just do it here. What do you
I,
say?
I got
You want
yeah,
a
I got 10
twister? Okay.
acres. Yeah, I got the hot tub, I got the pool, I got the dirt track racetrack, and I got my own mini roller coaster. I got 10 acres to kill, and this is a write-off. I bring
Yeah,
business
why not?
associates over and off we go.
Oh yeah, and then like they can occasionally host like community functions for their rich
Yeah,
friends and stuff, and
that's
then they
good.
could get an additional tax write-off as well.
That's right.
John Edgar says, I live 30 minutes from Branson. Dolly Parton sold her Dixie Stampede down there and is no longer
Oh no.
associated with it.
Oh
All
no.
right.
John, you broke my
Well,
heart, John.
that's too bad. But I would still totally go to Branson.
Yes.
Honestly, I didn't. If I'm being honest, I didn't know Dolly Parton was really associated with Branson. I just knew that it was a fun place to go. So, not really a huge selling point. John Edgar apologizes for just crushing
John,
your
I'm just
childhood hopes
John,
of
I'm just
seeing
kidding.
knockers.
Well, Branson was for a long time was counted as the discount Nashville. Like if you didn't want to go to Nashville, which was too commercial, you would go to Branson, and you would actually meet the real people doing their own shows and stuff like that. And the only reason I know that's because I got not baby boomer parents, but older than that that used to listen to all these things, so I would know about these things.
All right. Cool, cool. That's awesome. So, if you guys want an affordable family vacation, check out Branson instead of Disney World because for two people in one day, it was $886. Okay. Um, I don't know about you guys, but for me, that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
And for two people for one day, I just think I'd rather just go to like downtown Orlando and see some fun shit. You know, I'm sure they've got great stuff to see in Orlando besides that. And also, you could go to Universal Studios,
half the price, twice
which
the
is,
entertainment.
yeah, yeah. Last time I was there, they had this Aerosmith rock and roller coaster, which was one of
Nice,
those, it was a kinetic coaster where like it launched at like 100 miles an hour. That's arbitrary high number. I don't know exactly what its launch speed was. It was probably faster than
fast,
that, but yeah,
fast.
and then it like while it was playing, dude looks like a lady. We're sitting there like spinning upside down, and we're flying upside down inside this tunnel, and it's just like it twists and like it's basically a straight track that corkscrews every once in a while and turns you upside down, and it was sick. And then they had the dueling dragons, which were two roller coasters that like ran right next to each other. It was
Wow.
so good, so good. I
Well, you
really need to
sold
go
me,
back there.
Cory. You sold me. I'm not going to get screwed. I'm going to go and enjoy myself.
Do absolutely do. And I mean the Jurassic Park ride was also sick as fuck.
And
That was
and
cool.
Harry Potter. Oh, and Five Nights at
Oh, that's there
Freddy's at
too.
Universal.
Oh, that's true. My son would love that.
So
Well,
would my
maybe.
daughter.
But so the survey said that every state has its own money grab, be it the world's biggest insert underwhelming thing here, or a theme park asking for a small fee of $60 just to park your car, which is ludicrous, by the way. I don't not paying $60 to park my car.
No.
What a time to be alive and swindled. We asked participants from each of the 50 states to rank the state's TripAdvisor top 5 attractions they believe to be ripoffs. And when looking at California and Florida, Disneyland Resort and Walt Disney World Resort are both listed as number one. Do you think Disneyland and Disney World is a ripoff? Yes. I always have. Because expensive shit is always a ripoff to a poor person. But, what can I say? But no, to be honest though, this is alienating a vast number of middle class families with prices.
Agreed. A little anecdote for you, Corey. We went back in 2004 down to Disney World. My son was about 2.5, 3 years old. And I thought I got ripped off for 5 French fries and 5 drinks for 35 American. That means $46 Canadian. I thought I got ripped off, but going by what you're saying, they've been in the game for quite a while now.
Yep.
So,
And well, we've all seen stadium prices on beer and French fries and food and various things like that, where it's usually, I'll say, 30% more expensive than it should be for turning a
right,
profit.
right,
And I've got nothing against the business practices. If it works, good on you. It's not my line of business, so I don't care. But
right.
when you think about a place like Disney World, where they're allowed to have their own police force, they're allowed to manage their own water and land shit freely without state
Mhm.
intervention. For a long time, they were. And you have a place like that, and they're allowed to set their own prices. Then you can imagine that, say, if you went and got a hot dog, let's say, that's probably a $16 to $18 hot dog these days. I mean, that's how crazy
Yeah,
these places get. Like, I'm
right.
gonna look that up real quick. Food costs at Disney World. No, I don't want you to use my location. Shut up. Gosh.
I didn't see anything, Corey. We don't know where you are.
Woof. We're just going to jump right to here. The total cost of food at Disney World ends up being $200 to $300 per day for a family of 4. So that's $50 per day per person or more. Just to eat there for a day. Now, that doesn't sound too bad because a lot of places you're probably thinking something along the lines of, you could sit down and have a $25 to $100 meal, easily at a lot of
Yeah,
places. So $50 per person per day doesn't sound terrible, right? But you have to think that's in addition, like for a family of 4, that's $200 to $300 more in addition to the costs of the rides, to the costs of
yeah,
any they get in, tours they take, etc., etc. Not counting souvenirs, which people are going to buy because, oh my gosh, I went to Disney World. I need something to show that I did instead of
that's
just the
right.
shitty memories. Like, oh my gosh, the line for Splash Mountain was like 7 hours long. Like, give me a break. But anyway, but once you actually tally up all that shit and you're looking at $886 for 2 people for one day,
Yeah,
you have to ask yourself, not only Disney is a ripoff, okay, but you also have to ask yourself, are they actually a family oriented company for these types of things? And the answer is no. Because if you have kids these days, you probably can't afford to go to Disney World in the first place. Not unless, of course, you have a decent, job and you're probably independently employed, self-employed, to be able to afford things like that most of the time. At least in Colorado, if you're self-employed, you're typically doing well.
right,
Because out here we love small business,
right.
period. But when you're looking at a place like Disney and stuff like that, people aren't going like people will go bankrupt trying to fund a trip, and that's that's not what we really need right now. We need more conservative banking mindsets, and a lot of middle class families recognize that. And so I personally, this is my personal opinion that is not informed by any type of intelligence. I think Disney is fucking themselves sideways.
Big time.
And eventually they're actually going to feel it. Sure, they might prolapse before it happens, but they're going to feel it. And literally making your only profitable business venture too expensive is they're just continuing to shoot themselves in the foot.
They're choking the golden goose.
Mm-hmm. When they
That's
should just be
basically what they're
going
doing.
choking that chicken.
Well, yeah, less people would get hurt, and children are not involved in that.
Right?
Sorry, that was something else that's dear to my heart. Any abuse of the weak, old or young, to me, my go-to is very simple. Even though I'm Canada and we're socialistic maple syrup suckers, wood chippers, feet first, player. Depending on your crime and how many victims, that's how we measure how long you've been in the wood chipper. Feet first, right up to the knees for children, right up to the hips for swindling old people. So anyway, sorry, I just had to add that because
In Minecraft.
again, uh, to me, Disney is something that came out good. Because if you listen to Walt Disney and his original, when he came out 100 years ago, Walt Disney, he came out from the corporate foot that was on top of him. Steamboat Willie, he's the equivalent of Eric July nowadays. Okay. He started his own stuff. He saw his dream come over. But like everything else that I'm going to say man, but I mean human beings touch, whether it's religion, whether it's charitable work, it's whatever, it gets corrupted. And the problem with Disney now is the family friendly place has been long gone. Is frozen with Walt Disney, and corporate greed took over. And then unfortunately, they are feeling it, Cory. Last year they laid off 7,000 people. And that was just in the parks. How can you run the parks without 7,000 people?
Well, you have to
And
at first ask yourself exactly why those 7,000 people got hired in the first place. And I do like Comics Division's take on it when he says that they were all diversity hires. I'm sure that there was
okay,
some staffing that got cut that was actually probably a little detrimental to the park, but how they can survive without those 7,000 people is that they weren't useful in the first place.
right.
Hail to Bush
It's
McFadden.
hey Boosh, how you doing, bud? So basically what you're saying is Disney trimmed off the fat. So the next, if they have to do more cuts, that's where they'll start feeling it, right?
Yes, but
Okay.
something tells me Disney still has a little bit of insulation. I don't know exactly what it is because I feel like their personal, again, uninformed opinion is that they are violating the fiduciary responsibility they have towards their shareholders and their investors. But again, I'm uninformed as to these things.
I mean, that makes two of us, Cory, because again, my specialty is transportation. So it's the business. I kind of can dip my big toe into it. I have a basic knowledge, but again, it's not a surprise. And the beauty of it is they did it to themselves. Okay, they didn't have to do
Right.
this if it wasn't for that woke agenda, hiring activists. Disney, instead of being creative, you went out and you started being a purchaser, and you just bought this and you bought that, you bought this, you bought Fox, you bought what's that kids animated studio they bought there, Pixar. They bought Pixar. They bought a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff. They bought Star Wars. They bought everything, but doesn't make them any better. You know what I mean? You still got to create.
Well, and that in my opinion speaks volumes to the creative bankruptcy that's going on not only in Hollywood but in the deep root of Disney itself. Um, because I remember even when my son was younger, um, I would watch Disney with him, and we would watch all of like Jake and the Neverland Pirates and stuff like that. And they were decent shows and they were fairly entertaining, but even then they felt just like cheap ripoffs because that's what they were. So even 7 to 10 years ago, you could tell that they were starting to become creatively bankrupt. And the
Right.
problem that we see today is that instead of taking some kind of bankruptcy protection in the creation world by expanding out into, um, like maybe continued education is a requirement for most professional fields that require a license. I feel that continued education is something that artists should also pursue, especially if you're working for a company like Disney or Marvel or DC. Warner, the Warner Discovery thing is paying off, by the way. But anyway, they should continue to grow as artists instead of allowing for regressivist mindset to set in and say that only the old stuff is good, so we should work on that and change it to new. Instead of just making new. They could do any number of things, but now they're to the point where purchasing and recreating old IPs is the only thing that they think is going to save them, when they could be branching out and actually be hiring some of these independent story creators
Yes.
um, to diversify their brand in a way that is meaningful to the development of environment within our society. Because we've seen entertainment change, but when entertainment doesn't evolve with society properly and it's a forced evolution into an ideology that people obviously don't share, then you wind up where we are now. They could have diversified back in the day in a much better way than the all of a sudden forced bullshit we got within the last 5 years. Uh, Boosh says companies can't get rid of on activists once they're hired. They all sue. This is true. They do sue, but I'm sure Disney has some kind of clause that makes it to where they not allowed to. Probably at least an arbitration clause. So, but
Agreed.
yeah,
But again, two things: corporate greed. You cannot have, okay, it's being run as a business. To quote Henry Ford, the founder of Ford Motor Company, he once was asked by a reporter, how much more should the head of the company make to his lowest employee? He said 10 times. So let's say the lowest employee in 1912 in on the assembly line is making 2,000. Henry Ford shouldn't make more than 20,000 a year, but that's back. That mindset is gone. Corporate greed has came in, and when you have corporate greed, corporation and creativity do not blend together. It's just a matter, and I believe this might happen with Universal too, depending on who they hire. Whoever you hire has got to be some sort of artistic designer. As a businessman, you got to keep focus on what your business is. I'm a truck driver. I can run a trucking company, boom, just like that. I cannot run a bake shop. Okay, I'll run the
right.
bake shop into the ground. Okay, so you got to hire somebody who's related to it or who understands the product without going overboard. And like I said, that vice, corporate greed. Let's try to make as much $1 billion as we can with very little result or very little output or
Effort.
cost, I
Yeah.
guess. So anyway, I think it was doomed to fail. And depending how the other ones go, like Universal and places like this, I think Nintendo, doesn't Nintendo have a park? Are they opening up a
Oh
park?
yeah. Oh yeah. I would love to be able to go to Super Nintendo World in Japan.
Okay,
That
but
would be so great.
aren't they opening one up in Florida or California? Not California, but I think I heard they were opening up one in Florida.
there's been talks about it. I don't know if they've actually
Okay.
moved forward. I haven't paid any attention to expansion of that stuff. I just know that I want to
Okay.
go to the one in Japan because that place looks amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, the problem with Japan, it's like 20 some hours flight.
yeah,
Well, at least for me up here in Canada. But again, like Nintendo World and places like this, as long as you got somebody committed to the product, not who's got a mission, a creative mission, that place will never flop. And I think not only Disney lost their soul, but they lost their purpose. Happiest place on earth. Yeah, that was great while Walt Disney was alive and the whole idea that everybody was on board, but with activists, DEA, or DEI, I apologize,
yeah.
and all these
I
things,
always refer to it
everything
as die. It's
die.
DIE.
There we go. That's a good one. Die. So everything will just end up dying. So and it's that and I am not going to spend money going down to Florida. And like you said, exuberant. Even if I get a deal, I'm still not going to go to Disney World because I know I'm still getting ripped off. Again,
Right.
you can go Universal, half the price, double the entertainment, and there's somebody who is still focused on the customer. Imagine
Yeah.
that.
Crazy, right?
Yes.
So, Parrot Heads, I think speaking to the Nintendo in the US, it's in Universal Studios. That's good
Ah,
to
okay.
know because I love Universal Studios. Like their theme park is amazing. The one in Florida. Yeah. Anyway, speaking of the Sue Happy activists, he says, I don't think it's unfortunate. I think it's great. This is Boosh McFadden, by the way. He says they hired inept rabid dogs who bite the hands that feed, get canned, and then bite some more. If a company doesn't know this beforehand, they're stupid. And as John Edgar says, when you put it that way, I dare say you're right. You are correct, sir. I do agree with that 100%. Bush also says that Iger has already given himself another raise and another golden parachute. He is
We're
bleeding Disney dry. Well, that's what they do.
and we're far from the days of Henry Ford,
Yes,
right?
very much
The
so. Nowadays,
original.
the CEOs think they need to make at least 10,000 times what their lowest
Exactly.
paid employee makes. And it's a
Exactly.
million times in some cases because the sweatshops don't pay for shit. But anyway, Bush
No.
McFadden also says is it still $17 for an 8-ounce plastic cup of beer at Disney? Probably, if not 21 or more. Beer is
And
expensive
that's
in theme parks
American
and shit.
guys.
Yep.
That's American guys. For me, it's like add 3 or 4 or 5 bucks more with the exchange.
Right. True facts. True
Yeah.
facts. But I think Disney is in the thralls of death pains.
Yep.
And I say that with all the love in my heart for the fact that they might die as a company because they've been around for too long uh, to maintain relevance without acceptable change. And what they did was unacceptable change. Even in
That's
the
right.
eyes of some of their most diehard supporters, people who are completely dedicated to Disney as a brand, have started stepping away because of the viewpoints that they're shoving down everybody's throats, because of the prices that they're running on things, because the spirit of Disney is not there anymore. It doesn't
Hmm.
have the same feeling that it did as a kid. Um,
I know. It used to be
Bruce
fun.
McFadden says you don't like Labatt Blue, eh?
Yes, I do.
He does like Labatt Blue. I don't even know what that
The
is.
bad blue. It's kind of like the Canadian equivalent of Budweiser in the States.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's what it is.
There's the one
And
thing
it's
new I
a
learned today.
yes. We got a few up here. We got Labatt and Molson and Moosehead. Those are the last big breweries. It would be like Coors, I can never say that. Anheuser Busch.
Anheuser-Busch. Right.
Yes. And what else? John Adams beer. So that's
Okay.
those three beers are what those are the American equivalent.
All right.
Yes.
So that
Useless
sounds
information.
disgusting. I never liked beer in the first place, though. I mean,
I
it's been
love beer.
almost yeah, it's been almost 11 years since I've had a drink, but I can still remember hating beer.
Ah, okay. Okay.
I
Did you get
remember
sick
it
or
tasting like
is
ass.
it?
No, I was a hardcore alcoholic, bro. No,
Ah,
I
okay.
mean, like, wake up in the morning, take a shot of whiskey, get on with my day, middle of it, take another shot of whiskey, et cetera, et cetera. I was a very,
Okay.
very heavy drinker.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, I was to the point where, like, it was literally between killing myself with alcohol and living my life. So, of
Right,
course,
right.
I'm here now. So yeah. But back in my drinking days, I used to when I was in a pinch, I'd get myself a pit bull, and they were 99 cents for a 40-ounce can that was 10%.
Yes.
And yeah, I'd get like one or two of those, and I'd pound those down in less than 10 minutes. Just
Wow.
done. Because I was a fire for effect drinker. I was never enjoy the taste and savor it kind of guy.
But
Which
yeah, yeah, it's kind of like me. I'm a 2 pack a day smoker, and it's not because I love to smoke. It's mental.
yeah,
I have quit smoking stuff. I got the patch, I got the inhaler. Even with zero craving, my mind is so fucked up that I'm craving it without any physical need. Like my problems is psychological, so I can
yeah, it's a
relate to you.
psychological dependency.
I,
Um,
I, I like smoking, but I smoke more. It's like somebody who binge eats. It's
mm,
not because you're hungry; it's because you love eating and you need to
right.
eat. So that's me and smoking. So,
Gotcha. Yeah, I was the same way actually. I used to smoke 2 packs a day, sometimes more.
oh wow,
And yeah, and so I tried everything to quit. And I tried that Chantix stuff, which turns out is a really bad idea. By the way, fucks with your
yes,
brain chemistry apparently.
and it
Um,
shrinks your dick too, eh, Corey? Careful with that.
does it? I can't speak to that.
So I've been told. I've been told. A friend told me.
I I'm sure. But I tried the patches. Turns out I was allergic to the adhesive on the patches, like my father
Oh
was,
shit!
and it was like felt like I was having a heart attack. And I know it wasn't the nicotine because it was like the lowest dose possible patch.
Right,
Um, Closest thing to cold turkey you could go.
right.
Tried the gum, tried the lozenges, tried all that shit. And of course, I was not successful in giving up nicotine, but so I switched to vaping.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, it's 100 times worse than smoking. Not in
Yes.
physical impact or anything like that, but in the fact that if I don't have this on me, I am aware of the fact that I do not have it on me. But on top of that, I was and still am physically addicted to the nicotine itself,
Mhm.
to the point that I use 3 to 4 times the amount of nicotine in my vape juice that a normal smoker transitioning over does. Most people cap out at about 3 to 6. I'm at a 12 to 18%.
Wow.
And I have no delusions about this. I'm I'm a slave to this thing, and I probably
Well,
will be for the rest of my life, whether it be
yeah.
natural or unnatural. Just saying.
Well,
But I'm
I
fine
hear
with that.
it's a I hear it's a little bit better. There's less chemical than in a cigarette. It might give you popcorn lung, but smoking will give you lung cancer and
Well,
stroke and heart attacks and on and on and on. So, what's
and you
better,
have to
what's worse?
recognize the fact that, you know, one, sucking hot gases into your tissue paper thin lungs is not good for
Right.
you, regardless.
Mm,
The second
right.
being what gives you cancer and stuff like that is often not so much the product that you're using as much as it is your body's reaction to it through genetic programming.
Right.
And
Right. Right.
because cancer is caused by the mutation of cells most of the time. And this, of course, happens based on your genes. And a person can smoke for 80 years and not even cough while chain smoking 3 packs. They can
Yeah.
be fine. Some
Yeah.
people can smoke 2 cigarettes a day for 5 years and wind up with at
Lung
least one
cancer
patch
at
of lung
30.
cancer. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so it all depends on your genetics. This does no excuse to go out and just do whatever the fuck people want. Of course, just saying, drugs are bad, okay? But just be mindful of whether or not you're predisposed to having bad genes in these areas. I, of course, have a long history of cancer in my family, but that hasn't stopped me from making poor life choices. But poor life choices make for good stories. So sometimes you got to make poor life choices.
But again, Cory, I'll add something to that. Poor life choices makes for good people. You don't know how
Sometimes
not to fuck up until you fucked up so much. And it all
that's
depends
true.
on your how do I say this in English? You have a guy in like your heart, your essence, your soul, right? If you're a good person, it doesn't matter how much bad shit you do, you're still a good person. It's kind of like what you were saying on Monday. The arc and the effect and the other effect,
The halo
right?
and horn. Yeah.
The halo and horn. Thank you. Yeah, some people might see the halo effect and find out you're a piece of shit and you're just a good actor. But they
Yep.
might see the arc effect and then realize, oh, well, Cory's
Horn.
actually a very good man. I'm happy to call him my friend, but he had some shit and it's not his fault. Cory, if he had a choice between doing bad and good, he would do good 10 out of 10 times. So he did bad because it was out of his control. See what I mean? So
I
I
guess
can
that's
understand that. So
possible.
that's why I say yeah, doing bad life choices, it's God gave us free will. That's his fault. Okay. If we were all programmed to walk a certain direction on the same path, we wouldn't have any problems. No temptations, no
And
free will.
life would be overwhelmingly
Boring.
boring. Yeah. And,
Yes.
I'm not saying that we need to just throw caution to the wind and do whatever we want all
No, no,
willy
no,
nilly.
no.
Don't get me
You
wrong.
can't be
But
stupid either.
you, unless you make mistakes, you take risks, and you actually have some kind of adventure in your life, you're not going to be satisfied with it, honestly.
No.
Just of course, and the level of which, of course, varies based on the person. Like for me, I I am an adrenaline junkie to this day, but I don't go out chasing it anymore. I used to. Like I loved rappelling and I love like
Bungee jump.
high speed running. Uh I used to train hop to travel between towns.
Right.
There's regular coal trains that run through my town, so I'd be like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna go to this place." And I would just jump on, and then I'd jump off when I got to my destination, and, that was the adrenaline rush for the day. Driving 125 miles an hour, uh, doing all kinds of crazy, stupid shit when I was a kid. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, Granted, that probably didn't help my physical condition any, given the fact that my adrenal glands are connected to my kidneys, but, you know that's physiology for you.
But
But when you break it down, like those life experiences made me less afraid to deal with life today,
and
because
made you more of a stable person. How many people do you
other
know
than
between our ages that are spending their entire paychecks? They're married with two kids at home. They never lived life when they were younger. And at 35, 40, they're spending $1,000 at the strip joint, at the club. Who
right,
the hell at 40 needs to spend time at the club? So sometimes you got to get that out of your system. And I'm
this
not
is
just talking
true.
about the club. I'm talking like you can drive fast, like smoking weed, doing bush parties, staying up all night, staying up all weekend, clubbing. Some people you need to get that out of your system,
Well, yeah,
which I think is
you have to
good.
sow your wild oats, as they used to say. Hail to Joe's atmosphere. He says, "What up, boys?"
Uh, by
Welcome
the
to
way, I'm gonna put my buddy Joe on the spot. I want to congratulate. Sorry, I can't speak English today, and I won't speak French either. But I want to congratulate Joe. He's celebrating his 400th sub. And Joe is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet on the internet. And
Oh
he's
yeah.
just not just nice with you to your face. He's nice all the freaking time. So good on you, Joe. He's having at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock tonight. He's having his 400 sub party. Good on you, Joe. It couldn't happen to a more deserving guy. Love you, buddy.
Hell yeah. Congratulations, bro. Onward and upward towards glory.
That's what she said. That's what she
Yes,
said.
indeed. Hey. Yes, congratulations to Joe's Atmosphere on the 400 mark. I will say this right now. One of two things is going to happen once you hit 500. Okay? You're gonna slow down a little bit, and you're not gonna pick up as many subs as you'd like. Or what I'm hoping will happen, you'll explode, and then the next thing you know, you'll be over 1,000. So that's how it's going to happen for you at 500. Just because that's pretty much normal. You hit 500, you slow down, or you blow up. It's crazy.
Or Cory, he might make me look like an asshole. He might come out and say, "Aha, I'm a prick. I'm too big to know all you fucks. Go fuck yourself. You're all assholes." I hope not.
I doubt it.
That was a joke. That was a joke from last week there when he says, I want to interview people that before they get too big, you know. So anyway, no, Joe's the nicest guy. Joe can have 1 million sub and he'll still take my text messages. So Joe's a great guy.
Hell yeah. Well, the best of luck to you, Mr. Atmosphere. Yes, indeed. But yeah, make sure you're subscribed to Joe's Atmosphere here on YouTube. And make sure you're also subscribed to Christian Delorme's Vinyl Revival. That's a great channel, up and coming from our friend here.
Thank you, sir. And don't forget, if you're not subbed to Sir Talks a Lot, please do. Cory is a gem. He's wonderful, he's smart, he's funny, and he does multiple voices.
None of that was true. Nope.
No. Okay.
He's lying. Joe's Atmosphere says Cory is one of the greats. He lets the Dix division promote themselves on his Gilded. I let anyone who's a member of the Toxel at Town Square promote themselves there. This is a great time to drop a join link because the join links are usually only shared in live chats. So that's how we pick up our friends, I suppose. And of course, you do get some benefits of being in the Toxel at Town Square, one of which being you have access to join any of the shows that I put on. Unless, of course, it's a one-on-one interview. That's different. Here's the join link. I do hope you guys will join us there. We do have music sharing, and we have suggested reading, promotion tab for smaller channels, promotion tabs for my shit. You know, excuse me. It's just one of those things.
And Cory makes his own music. He's too modest to say it, but he makes good music. It's rap, but it's good rap. So you go on his Gilded and you listen to his rap and like.
Well, you know, that sounds like I need to share something.
Why not?
Honestly. So I'm just going to get this opened up. And this is a song that I have not fully released yet. It is not.
All right.
But my brain is breaking. What did I do with it? That's right. That's right.
Well, one piece fell in my car here. Okay, bad joke. Hey, I'm a dad, so therefore dad jokes are funny.
Yeah, there it is. And Neon 7 Plus. Let's do 12. No. So I have previewed this song before. It is called Neon Angel. But I figure we'd just take a listen to it real quick. And let's see what people think. All right. And let me know if it's too loud, not loud enough, etc. And if you're listening on a phone or a TV, it might not sound right. Just saying.
Soar through the night with the wings of a neon angel. Every single beat brings you closer to God. Like a holy chorus calling out to save you from the fatal trappings of a broken heart. There in the light of a neon angel, a visceral caress carries you away. Hidden in the rhythm is a chance to save a lonely heart from its tragic pain. I was safe from the moment I found you. Now I can't live without you. And from that very first kiss, my soul was truly blessed. Safe from the moment I found you. Now I can't live without you. And from that very first kiss, my soul was truly blessed. Oh, angel, just spread your wings and fly. Sheer brilliance of two souls intertwined. Pure radiance pierces through the night, shining from a heart of pure and blessed light. There in the darkness we can surely find comfort in a love destined and divine, that will take us to a place so deep inside we can feel our souls take a breath of life. Beautiful angel, vibrant light, radiant savior in the night. Shine your blessings and save a tortured soul from its darkest plight. Heavenly bodies swing to the rhythm of the lonely heartbeats there within us. Neon angel, I pray you bless us all with your endless love.
Yeah, that's my currently unreleased song called Neon Angel. Little different than the other stuff, but it is a direct follow-up to the Sins of a Collective Mind.
No, but it's good. Cory, I only got one thing to say to it. You know what? And it's not you. It's just while I was listening to the song, I was thinking a woman's voice would make this a hit. And I'm not talking
I
like some
agree.
teenage. No, but seriously, I was thinking, what if, I know what you're saying when people tell you your lyrics are too intelligent. I get that. I love lyrics. That's not my issue. My issue is, no, it's not even an issue. I was just thinking, what if a woman would be singing this? You know what I mean? That would be a guaranteed hit for sure.
I would love to be able to get some female vocals on some of my tracks and stuff, for sure.
Right. But
I
Cory,
just unfortunately don't know any
right.
female
Well,
vocalists. So
neither do I. Good-looking young girls stay away from me, far away from me, and I don't blame them. But
yeah, I don't either.
seriously, Cory, speaking of young girls, my daughter just called while you were playing your. The sitting down's over. I gotta go do my dad duty and drive her and her bestie back home.
Alrighty.
And dude, thank you very much for letting me come in and giving my
Well,
two
yeah.
cents. You're a good man,
Well,
and
thank you for being here.
this is fun. I like doing this on Saturday afternoons. Like this is great. And
Hell yeah.
and all we're going to say is don't forget Joe's Atmospheres 400 tonight. I'm sure Joe will put it in. And Cory is way too modest and way too humble. This guy is a well of talent. He's just a hell of a good guy. And you guys should pip him more in a good way.
In a good way. Yeah. Hey.
So,
But make sure you're subscribed to Christian DeLorme's Vinyl Revival because he has some good stuff going on over there. He's just starting up, so make sure you get him over 100 before summer. Easily.
yes. While I got Joe here, Joe, don't forget this Wednesday we're doing Triumph. Cory couldn't join because he's working. 10 o'clock Eastern, my channel. We're doing Triumph. And you know what? I'm going to invest a bit of time and I'm going to put videos and I'm going to put solos and I'm going to put concerts. And I don't care if I get demonetized. I don't care. I'm taking a
Well, you're
leap
not
of faith
monetized yet
forward.
anyway, so.
Exactly. So what do I have to lose?
Exactly.
But anyway.
Thank you very much for joining us, sir. It's always a pleasure having you on.
The pleasure all mine, my friend. And you take care of yourself, brother. We'll see you soon.
You too. All right. Have a good one. So Joe's Atmosphere here says, have you ever done metal? Down metal, but done metal. Because you have the voice for it. Well, I have done metal-esque things. The most popular of which was Total Control. You can catch that on my YouTube channel in the video section. I'm currently working on a similar song. I won't say it's a follow-up. It's a similar song. I have some editing to do on the music and stuff in order to make that more acceptable to me. But this one will not have a rap portion in it like the last one did. Like, nope. It's going to be all singing, two different types of vocal styles using, yeah. And of course, I want to say hi to Culture Casino because he popped in while we were listening to my unreleased song. And he says it's a huge ripoff now. Speaking, of course, of Disney. And yes, sir. Yes, it is. Thank you for joining us, my friend. Yeah, this has been a interesting stream. We talked about Disney being a ripoff, and we talked about a lot of other stuff too. Hail to Jason Fox from 540 Studios. He says, Hail just poked in. Poked in. Yep, he sure did. Yes. Make sure you're also subscribed to 540 Studios. They're fantastic. Yeah, I don't know where else to go now other than get some food. So I'm going to go ahead and call it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Join us Monday for Cory's Corner once more. And then, of course, Monday evening should be Dick's News US. I have a specific topic of AI and AI regulation to cover on Monday for Dick's News US. It should be an interesting discussion or looking at a topic, depending on who we have on the panel, if anyone. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sexy, don't get murdered, and as always, have a wonderful time. Bye-bye.